What are some things that you remember about adopting the military life?
I know I'm not supposed to chew and walk at the same time. I'm not supposed to have my hands in my pockets. No, I mean, a lot of the discipline that they teach you, like, it still carries over for me today. I'll find myself running off 5 hours of sleep. There's all kinds of things that I've kind of adopted from there. Nothing, I guess, in particular, just a whole lot of things that the military does that we probably don't do as civilians.
Have you ever actually served overseas?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did.
Where was that at?
I did 2 deployments. My first was in Afghanistan. I did 7 months in Afghanistan. And then my second was on a humanitarian mission on the USS Cleveland out in the South Pacific. So we got to tour a bunch of countries out there providing aid, medical aid, dental, veterinarian, and then the job of the Marine Corps was just to provide aid, or not to provide aid, but to provide security. And basically we just got to kind of have fun because there was never really a threat out there, so we just kind of crowd control and got to explore the islands and stuff. It was pretty cool. Got to go to Australia.
Absolutely. Yeah. So whenever you were actually like in the water and in these other countries, how did you stay in touch with your friends and family?
Afghanistan was kind of hard because where we went, there was nothing established, so we kind of had to establish everything and build everything. So it took us a long time to get like any kind of connection. We had satellite phones that we would get to call maybe once a week. They would let us go in and call home, and the connection was always bad, so it was kind of difficult. Sometimes we'd take a convoy back to the main base there in Afghanistan, and they had the internet and all that, so we could get on Facebook or whatever we wanted to, or call or something like that.
name is Nicole Wilson. This song, most famously sung by Vera Lynn, was a beacon of hope to thousands upon thousands of American soldiers. She sang this to them right before they went overseas in World War II, and to them it represented that one day, even if it's not anytime soon, they may get to see their families again. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'd be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'd be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
I want to thank Mr. Boothby and Mr. Serber for inviting me to be here today. And I want to tell you what an honor it is for me to be able to speak to the students, the faculty, and the staff here at Tuttle High School and share some thoughts on veterans and Veterans Day. My thoughts today will really center on three things: discipline, service, and sacrifice. Same traits that you'll find in veterans are the same traits that help you excel in school, that help you thrive within your family, and really do well at whatever your passion is, whether it's sports, music, the arts, or just helping people. A couple of things about myself I think it's important for you to know. You obviously think I'm a veteran, or I wouldn't be here, and I am. I spent 16 years in an Army uniform on active duty, and then another decade plus in the Ready Reserves. I want you to know that I'm the grandson of a World War II veteran, a man who fought as a combat engineer in Patton's 7th Army across Europe to liberate Europe from the Nazis. I'm also the son-in-law of a 24-year-old Air Force veteran, a man who lied about his age so that he could get into the fray in World War II. At the age of 15, became a member of the Army Air Corps and later the Air Force. That man, some of you know Mrs. Foster, that's her daddy that I'm talking about. I'm also the brother of a 20-year Army military intelligence officer. I'm the husband of the same woman of 40 years who followed my Army career all around the United States and across the globe, and usually with 2 small kids in tow. I'm also the father of 3 and the grandfather of 9, so I understand the challenge of raising children through high school and into adulthood. I serve as an elder at Tuttle Christian Church and have for 14 years. And finally, I'm the senior vice president of a local technology company that provides high-end training services and systems to our military to help them be prepared as best they can and best trained that they can be when they enter combat. So I'd ask you, or ask myself, which of those roles or relationships has been the most important to our nation? And it is without a doubt my service as a veteran and the service that I rendered to the Army. See, veterans served and continue to serve to keep us safe, to protect our way of life. Veterans may not always agree with policy, but it's their discipline that allows them to continue to serve and do their duty despite them not agreeing with policy. It's also their discipline which allows entire brigades to be sent into combat in North Africa during the early stages of World War II, knowing full well that those brigades were going to take 80% casualties. That's discipline, that's service, and that's sacrifice. Someone who has said that a veteran is someone who at one point in their life wrote a blank check made out to the United States of America for an amount up to and including their own death. Let me say that again. A veteran is someone who at one point in their life wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America for an amount up to and including their own life, and some did. You students may be asking, well, why do we recognize Veterans Day here at Tuttle High School? I think 3 reasons. I think first, it's to honor those who served and sacrificed. Second, it's also to remember that our freedom is never free. Our freedom that we enjoy today came at a heavy cost, and we need to remember that. Third, I want you to learn early in your life that service to our nation is an honorable calling. It's not a job, it's not a career, it is indeed a calling, and I think a noble one. I thought to myself, how can I best relate to you the role of the United States military in our society? And I thought of this. There's a lot of talk, and rightly so, about bullies in our society. Bullies in our school, bullies in our neighborhood, and bullies are not easy to deal with, are they? I mean, they're a real challenge, they're a real pain in the tush, right? And there are different ways you can try to do that. Some is you try to avoid them. Maybe you try to talk to them, reason with them. Maybe you try to reach out to somebody else for help, or maybe you stand up to them. So you can almost liken our world as our neighborhood. And sometimes entire countries, or sometimes terror networks, are like bullies. And when the world has a problem, when it comes time to stand up to those bullies in our world, guess who gets the call? Every time. It's the American military. And our military, our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, they're always ready to answer that call to stand up to the bullies. So does that mean we have a military full of warmongers? Absolutely not. I love the way General Douglas MacArthur answered that question when he said, on the contrary, the soldier above all other people prays for peace, for it is he who must suffer and bear the deepest wounds and scars of war. So again, who is the American veteran? The veteran is a man or a woman. City slicker from Chicago, or a country boy from Oklahoma, or a surfer dude from California. Rich or poor, Midwesterner, Southerner, Yankee, East Coast, West Coast. The veteran is a draftee or a volunteer. Comes from every race, ethnicity, religion, political ideology. It runs the spectrum. That's who a veteran is. So how does your school assembly tie into Veterans Day? I think Tuttle High School has produced so many graduates, and this community has produced so many people who go on to serve and are veterans. Some many decades ago, some just recently. Some of you may remember some of the individuals that I know personally who have left Tuttle High School to go serve. Cole Gracie, Maverick and Colton Hebert, Connor McBride, or a graduate from just last year, Falcon McDoulet, one of the newest Marines in the United States Marine Corps. These fine men serve as airmen, soldiers, and Marines. Some are officers, some are enlisted, some are non-commissioned officers, but they all exude discipline, service, and sacrifice, taught by their families and reinforced here at Tuttle High School. That's how it relates. I want to leave you in the future a story that you can think of on Veterans Day, and I want you to remember this story from World War II. The story has been deemed the story of the 4 chaplains. It was the evening of February the 2nd, 1943. Well, let me back up and just say that before we invaded the mainland of Europe, we assembled a mass army and its allies in England to be able to make the Normandy and D-Day invasion. But to do that, we had to get all kinds of things shipped to England, all kinds of equipment, people, cargo, and a lot of merchant ships were converted to military ships, and they had to go through the North Atlantic to get there. And so that's the backdrop of this. Again, it was the evening of February 2nd, 1943, and the United States transport ship, the Dorchester, was crowded to capacity, carrying 902 servicemen, merchant marines, and several others. The ship's captain knew he was in dangerous waters. German submarines had already sank several ships in this area. So the captain ordered that the men sleep in their clothes and in their life jackets, but being stubborn soldiers, and that was not very comfortable, many did not obey the order. They were uncomfortable with that. Early the next morning, a German submarine approached the convoy and fired several torpedoes, and a ship with 1,000 men on it started sinking. The captain gave the order to abandon ship. In less than 20 minutes, the Dorchester would slip beneath the Atlantic's icy waters. My readings tell me that witnesses say that men jumped from the ship into lifeboats, overcrowding them to the point of capsizing the lifeboats. I want you to imagine being on that ship, crowded with 900 plus men. According to survivors, 4 Army chaplains brought hope in despair and light in darkness. These chaplains were a Methodist, a Jew, a Roman Catholic, and a general Protestant. The record says that the 4 chaplains spread out among the soldiers. They tried to calm the frightened, tend to the wounded, and guide the disoriented. Can you imagine the chaos that they were trying to calm people in? Finally, there were no more life jackets to give out, yet hundreds of men still needed them. What did the 4 chaplains do? The chaplains removed their life jackets and gave them to 4 frightened young men. You know, when giving their life jackets, Rabbi Good did not seek a Jew to give his life jacket to. Father Washington did not call out for a Catholic. Reverend Fox did not search for a Methodist, and Pastor Poling did not insist on a Protestant. The 4 chaplains simply gave their jackets to the next man in line. As the ship went down, survivors in nearby rafts could see the 4 chaplains, arms linked and offering prayers, knowing that they would die together. Of the 902 men aboard the Dorchester, 672 died that evening. Only 230 survived. But 4 survived because of the heroic chaplains who were willing to give their life jacket to their fellow man in selfless sacrifice. I hope you'll remember that story. And finally, as you consider the importance of honoring our veterans, I'm going to ask you that you also think about your role as an American citizen, whether you've served in the military or not. What is that role? What can you do? Well, first, as you become adults and get involved in the electoral process, you need to demand that our elected officials, congressmen, senators, and our national leaders do not put your brothers and sisters and you and our children into harm's way without first exhausting every economic and diplomatic means necessary. You need to hold them accountable to that as a constituent. Second, if the nation does decide to send our warriors into harm's way, then you support them in every way you can upon their return, and that includes having VA hospitals and a healthcare system that are world class. It includes employers who look to give veterans an advantage when hiring people. And finally, treat them with compassion and patience for those that come back with post-traumatic stress disorder. Tuttle High School, your veterans serve to protect your future and your way of life. That's why we honor them. So whether at school, at a trade, with your family, or living out your passion, I want you to practice discipline, service to others, and be willing to sacrifice. These traits will help you navigate life successfully, regardless of whether you choose a military path or something else. God bless each of you, and go Tigers!
She walked to the mailbox on that bright summer's day. Found a letter from her son in a war far away. writing, you're good and you're brave. What a father that you'll be someday. Make it home, make it safe. She wrote every night as she prayed. Late in December, a day she'll not forget. Tears stain the paper with every word that she read. It said I was up on a hill, I was out there alone when the shots all rang out and bombs were exploding. And that's when I saw him. He came back for me, and though he was captured, a man set me free. And that man was your son. He asked me to write to you. I told him I would. Oh, I swore it was the last of the letters from war. And she prayed he was living, kept on believing, and wrote every night just to say, you are good and you're brave. What a father that you'll be someday. Make it home, make it safe. Still she kept writing each day. And 2 years later, autumn leaves all around are rolled in the driveway, and she fell to the ground. Out stepped a captain where the boy used to stand. He said, Mom, I'm following